Right, thank you. I'd like to call the workshop meeting to order. The first item that we have here is to discuss a little bit more about the ZRC appointments. And Doug Larson reached out to me as he's a potential appointee. And he wanted to come and talk to the board and address the board about some of the issues that he's seen between the comprehensive plan and our zoning code and how he thinks that the ZRC can help with that. So Doug, please come up. Yes, you can use that right there.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I have a few notes here
Sure.
so I can keep my thoughts clear. I'm Doug Larson. I'm an architect, a property owner in Ancrumdale, also the architect of the Stissing Center in Pine Plains. So I've been working up here for almost 20 years. And the projects I've worked on have taken me through zoning codes in Pine Plains, Stanford, Northeast, Milan, Gallatin, Washington, Rhinebeck. So I'm really familiar with a lot of planning boards throughout Dutchess and Southern Columbia County. So when Supervisor Lutz was elected, I reached out to her to give her some observations about issues that I was running into with the zoning code that's not necessarily aligned with the comprehensive plan. And so just to back up a little bit, there's some current trends in planning and zoning that I thought I might just talk about for a minute. So zoning is really being rethought in a lot of communities because, especially in light of the housing shortage, so many towns are looking at their zoning codes and trying to figure out how to make it more attractive or make it easier for people to build additional dwelling units. Most zoning codes are really suburban in their nature. They encourage you to take your land, chop it up into parcels, and put a single family house in the middle. That's it. That's how it's really written. Or two family houses too are also permitted. Also, planners are looking at increasing density in areas where density is desirable and reducing density in areas where it's not desirable. Generally, that's in hamlets and cities you want to re-densify, and in farmland or rural areas, you want to relax the density so that you can maintain this, especially in Ancrum, the rural nature of Ancrum. So I think looking at the density provisions in the hamlet is kind of interesting. Some places are doing mixed use developments, it's where there's a walkable neighborhood with shops and restaurants all in the same area. Most zoning codes do not even allow that, and our zoning code doesn't even address mixed use. So I think that's something we should be looking at. So some of the things I've found with our zoning codes are either prescriptive, where it writes down in the code what you can do and what you have to show to the building inspector, or discretionary. So discretionary means it goes before a board that all of a sudden there's opinions flying around, and then there's things that have to be negotiated, and additional restrictions may be put over and above the prescriptive things in the zoning code. So in our zoning code, we have a use chart, which has a list of uses, and in the boxes, there's either a P or an X, which means permitted or not permitted. That's prescriptive. If there's a P in the box, we can go read the prescriptions, and as long as you follow what it says to do, the building inspector will give you a permit. If there is a SP, SUP, or ASPR in the box, that's a site plan approval or special use permit or abbreviated site plan. All of a sudden, you're going to the zoning code. To the planning board. So if we want to encourage certain activities here at Ancrum, I think we need to rethink what's permitted versus what needs a special use permit, and put more P's in the boxes. Stanford is doing this right now. They put P's in the boxes for a second dwelling on the lot. So the minute you put more P's in, it'll be a lot easier for people to do things like that. So I think we need to look at that. Also, I think we could look at the planning board. The planning board, there's a lot of procedures and paperwork that has to be filled out. There's a lot of consultants that applicants need to hire. The town also has consultants that get hired, and I'm not sure their interests are aligned with the town or the applicants because they're working hourly and they do whatever. They're incentivized to just keep finding things to do, to hurdles to overcome. And of course, the applicant pays the bill. Well, and also sometimes opinions that aren't relevant come into the mix, or they're over and above the purview of the board. So I think we should be thinking about that. So much of the development that's sought in the comprehensive plan is not, as of right, there is no P in the box for some of these things. There is an abbreviated site plan which is available, but it also has a lot of paperwork that has to be submitted. It's basically almost as onerous as a regular special use permit site plan. There's some other issues with our zoning code I think we should look at. The abandonment of non-conforming uses is a 2-year horizon. So if there's a historic structure, it falls out of use for 2 years, chances are you're not going to get the use back. So that, I think we should look at that. There's no statutory state requirement on the length of time that you have an abandoned use. So if let's say a church or something didn't operate for 3 or 4 years, they would be able to come back as a church probably without going through a lot of hurdles. Same thing with a restaurant. The density control schedule, I think, needs to be looked at. It's almost impossible to decipher. The town's consultant couldn't explain it to me when it came up in my application. So let's look at that. All businesses in the use chart need site plan approval. So it goes down the discretionary route. The only Ps in the box in Ancrum are for residential use, for agricultural use. So if you want to open a business, you have to go through all those hurdles. We have a floating business district, but it's only for industrial uses. So if someone wants to open a shop on a country road somewhere, they can't use the floating business provision. I think we should also look at our buffers. There's a 50-foot buffer between residential use and agricultural district, which is supposed to be berms or trees or forests, which I think if someone would like a nice view of the farmland, they're required to block it, in the code, or write a letter saying that they know there's going to be manure spread next to us. So I suppose that's always an option. And the 150-foot wetland buffer, which is 50 feet more than the state DEC, I'm a little curious where that came from. And it has kind of unintended consequences. I know that one of Ankling's legacy farm families ran into this, and their operation was basically they had to go get a variance. And this is what we're trying to encourage, is family farms and production. And our 150-foot wetland buffer requires no disturbance whatsoever, where the state buffer is only 100 feet, and you can do some disturbance. You just have to get approval from the DEC, and you have to have all kinds of safeguards for the wetland vegetation. So we've kind of gone past what the environmentalists require for wetland buffers. So that I think needs to be looked at. So those are just a few of the things. I think you guys may know that my wife and I have bought some buildings at Anchorvale, and we're trying to do what's suggested in the comprehensive plan, which is restore the buildings, bring back housing and businesses to the hamlets. All 3 of those are comprehensive plan goals. But because there's no P in the box, we're finding lots of hurdles. So I'm hoping that the ZRC can address some of these issues, and we can try to bring the zoning code back into alignment with the comprehensive plan, and more aligned with what's happening countrywide in terms of re-looking at zoning and allowing more density in appropriate areas and getting some more housing. So that's my pitch. All right, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Doc.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You talked about the fact that you've been in business for quite some time and you've worked with multiple communities to the south of us. How do you find their zoning laws compared to ours?
They all seem to come from a boilerplate. There's a lot of zoning consultants out there, and they're borrowing zoning terminology from lots of other codes. They're all fairly suburban. They're all chopping up and putting structures in the middle. Different ones have different provisions, like Pine Plains has setback provisions that encourage building to the sidewalk and having a walkable town. So different towns have gone in to these essentially suburban codes and tried to make them more rural by letting you have a hamlet that's more dense. And I don't know about the encouraging rural tracts of land. The way to do that is to increase the lot size. But that would be hard to do, I think, because you'd be down zoning people, and that would be difficult. But they're all pretty much the same. They just have little idiosyncrasies between the two of them. I think this Ancrum's is much larger than most. It's very thick.
It's extreme. I have to tell you, I've been looking into this, researching this. And most of the towns around us, we have at least 120 pages more zoning than anyone around, and even more than that than others. And they're towns with much bigger infrastructure and quite higher populations than us. But we seem to be, we want to regulate everybody, so we want to, we're pushing it very hard.
There.
Well,
So-
and you're here about the zoning revisions committee. The zoning revisions has been asking us for direction and everything lately. I personally think that any direction we have, one thing we've talked about at great length here for the last couple months is the fact that we're talking about ponds with artificial water. Why don't we push? I've talked to multiple people on the zoning revisions committee here in the last couple months. And they say not once in the last few years have they talked about doing anything that helps us towards affordable housing. I would think that should be our biggest thing. We've been working at that hard for the last couple of years. Why don't our zoning, and I have said forever, the contractors and everybody don't want to work in this town because our zoning is too restrictive. And we keep just adding more and more and chasing it. And we need to do more to make it easier. Which is exactly what you're talking about, and you're talking about other towns. Whether you eliminate certain things, I don't understand why we have restrictions that are tougher than the state. That is kind of counterintuitive to me. The state should have the toughest restrictions, not us. And then if you have to have a P to go anywhere, I can tell you when I bought my property in the mid-80s, the first thing I did is I went and got a variance to make sure I could put the business on my piece of property. If I didn't get the variance, I said, I don't want the piece of property, I'll sell it to somebody else. And that's where everybody's stuck now. And we're chasing people out of here, left and right.
Yeah, I think the business thing is interesting because we do want to encourage businesses, so there should be some as of right businesses. I think if a business has been there, we could, especially in an existing building, we could say their nonconformity can continue. The ponds thing, it was interesting. I asked Ed where that came from, and his answer to me was, well, we just need a process to know that someone's doing. Like they need to say they're going to do a permit because a pond, because right now you can just go dig in the wetlands and there's no piece of paper that says I'm going to make a pond. I don't think he meant to regulate it. I think he just meant he wants to know it's happening. If it's within the state wetlands buffer.
You have to go through DEC though to do that.
You have to go.
I mean, that's not just, you can't just go dig there.
Right. So that's the 100-foot buffer. If you're in the 100-foot buffer, he would know that someone's doing something in the buffer, and he would say, you have to have your flag your wetlands and apply to the DEC. That's what should happen. If it's outside of the buffer, then we need to decide, do we permit a pond or not? And I think that the ZRC has just started talking about that.
Well, I think there are a lot of things, as I said, we need to look at eliminating things, not adding, in my book. I think that's where we are. I think we've made things, that's just me.
Yeah, and the purpose of zoning is not to be a nuisance or harm your neighbors. It's not to ask everybody's opinion whether you should have a pond in your property or not. So I think there's an in-between solution to a lot of these things. And maybe there's an in-between way, something that's between permitted and special use permit, a way to continue a use by hammering it out with the building inspector and someone from the planning board, but not go through the whole paperwork process. I think a lot of communities are struggling with this, so it'll be interesting to see I'm trying to research what the rest of the country is doing about this, because it has arrested economic development.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you very much, Doug.
sure.
And I know that I sent to you the information from the ZRC I figured we could discuss next month because Carol won't be able to be here and I thought it would be right to have her go ahead and look at that with us. So, yeah, they had drafted kind of like what their, what they think that their expectations are, what's expected of them, and then we can go from there, so. Absolutely, yeah.
So Doug, simplifying things a little bit, it sounds like it might be in your idea of looking at the ZRC and maybe suggesting some ideas.
Yeah, I think when there was an open call for CRC members, I just started listening in to see how it works. And I haven't totally figured out how the issues are brought to an agenda. Like what is the chart of work? I mean, I know what the remit is. It's to like look at it and try to bring it in compliance with the comprehensive plan. But there really should be an agenda. We're going to tackle this issue first, this issue second, this issue third. And
When I looked at some of the meetings or the minutes, I noticed that some of the things were just being gone through. It's more of the wording of everything that's being handled. And then after it's discussion, it goes back to the original. And looking at some of the other towns, they take a lot of their directions from the planning board, things that are coming up that we have to look at. And also the zoning board of appeals. What are we seeing right now that we might have to address so that we can figure this out?
yeah, I would think there would be a role for the town board and the planning board and the ZBA to say, these are the problems we're seeing. Here, ZRC, you guys study this.
Yeah.
And the other funny thing about zoning codes is that I would say about a third of the regulation is in the definitions. You have to look at the definitions to understand what's permitted and what's not permitted. For example, in Stanford, they're getting rid of guest cottage, but they're adding accessory dwelling unit 1,500 square feet or less. So if you want to build 1,500 square feet or more, a second structure on your property, you have to go to a duplex. The definition of duplex actually allows two separate structures, which is so counterintuitive. So we need to be looking at it. It's all a parcel, and it refers you all over the place, and you really almost have to totally absorb it. And here, I think from the town board could set the direction. This is what we want this committee to be doing, and tackle these 5 things next year.
I think that's where we need to go. If you look at the on the website, it talks about that the ZRC gets its direction from the town planner. I don't think I think it should be coming from the town board, not the town board.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Right.
the role of the consultants should be the board is all of you folks, or the planning board or the zoning board. You're the town residents, and there may be some professionals or may not be some professionals. The planners and the engineer should sit at their side and be available when there's a question. But the board, the zoning board and the planning board should make up its own mind. And they shouldn't blindly follow the consultants. And I think a lot of times it's flipped. The consultants are running the boards, the zoning board and the planning board.
I think you're quite right. And one of the things that I've talked to a few people and I don't understand. We have consultants that have a state license, they're licensed engineers, surveyors and everything, and they present something and say something goes one way. And just like talking to a lawyer, just like talking to a doctor, if you find another one, you're gonna get a different opinion. So they both have licenses, they both have their accreditation, and so who do you want to believe? And you're just driving up the cost of the person because they paid the first one to do their project, and then the town hires another consultant and we make them pay for that too. So they're paying double for the same process, just because we don't want, if the person has a license and it is accredited, we should accept it. That's what our benchmark should be. Not that we don't like that person, we don't agree with that person, we don't this, we don't that. If they have the license, you do the same thing when you get your car inspected. You do the same thing as I said, when you go to the doctor, the dentist. No, I mean, you're allowed to go elsewhere to get a second opinion, but you can't. What are you doing? It's just, you pay that cost and you assume it. Well, these people don't have a choice. We're jamming it down their throat.
Yeah, that's interesting because there's a lot of jurisdictions, usually bigger cities or smaller towns, where if the building department doesn't have the bandwidth to deal with all the applications, or you don't want to send it to the planning board, a licensed professional can stamp the drawings. And they actually, some of the inspections can be done by a licensed professional, and you accept that the licensed professional has been trained, they're licensed by the state of New York, that it's their liability. When I stamp a set of drawings, I am accepting a lot of liability for life safety. And some jurisdictions will just accept the stamp of a licensed professional from the applicant's consultant.
Exactly. And we definitely do not do that.
Not at this time, no.
We don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the things that that I've been dealing with is the county health department has been without an engineer for a year. And so everything is totally stalled. And the county health department has decided to do just that. Rather than hire an engineer, they are going to send it out to engineering firms. And the applicant works through with the engineering firm, and
As long as they stamp it, they're okay with it.
when they're satisfied, then the building inspector can issue a permit.
Yeah, I think we
Right.
just contracted with 3 different engineering
I heard
companies
that,
to
yeah.
do that, so,
Well, that's what stalled our project. I've been waiting a year
yeah,
to talk to the health department.
yep. So hopefully that'll stop happening. But, yeah, sure.
Having served on the committee for a long time, I just want to clarify again that we take our remit from the planning board. We got a whole list of things we have gone through from the building inspector, from the CAC, and from Ed Ferrara. Oh, well, same, building inspector, but those things we're going through methodically. If you read the minutes, a lot of it is wordsmithing. There isn't that much change in the end. No, but we, right, so we discussed a lot of it, as you heard, and sometimes for meeting after meeting, we discuss the same thing. But we always come to an agreement, and it's not like we're making up things to look at, we're making up new rules to saddle people with, we're not doing that. But, and we haven't actually made any changes since Hugh was there.
Right.
As I said, we've been over 3
Right.
years without a change.
Right, so we're not.
So
shoving
maybe we
anything
don't
down
need a
anybody's
ZRC.
throats. We're not shoving anything down anybody's throat, so we haven't brought anything to you to
Yeah,
look at.
yeah.
Because it's a tedious thing, but the next thing we're supposed to tackle is affordable housing, and we're just about getting to that, but. To do that, we need some new members, and I think Doug would be a fantastic new member. So I just want to clarify, that's how we take our orders, and that's what we've done. If you read the minutes, you see that that's. Much of it is just discussion, and I think, I don't know if you've seen the new Millerton zoning they just passed, but I think they dealt with multi-use. They just passed a whole new package there. I haven't read it. Anyway, there are a lot of towns are dealing with it now. And I'm glad that we are, but anyway, just want to clear.
You
Millerton,
talked about all the people you take your orders from, but you never once mentioned the town board.
We haven't had anything from the town.
We'll make sure you get them from now on.
That's what we're
we'll
doing.
work on it.
We're trying to
Yeah.
clarify what you guys want.
Work
and
on affordable housing. That's the most important thing to us.
I know, believe me.
I would hope you know.
I do know. And that's what we're supposed to take on next to.
Well, next week, next month, yeah.
Well, whenever we get to have another.
But I saw
Yeah.
affordable housing, because that's when I came in, started listening, was wordsmithing the definition of dwelling and things like that. to try
Right.
and Relax
I saw
it a bit, but the town consultant kept saying, no, use the word you already have. So you were wordsmithing it, hoping to broaden the definition of
Right.
dwelling and
Right.
housing. And maybe it's more structural than that, it has to do with the uses and the use chart and the procedures, rather than actually definitions, but.
And we get stuck on things like that, but the one thing we have done. That little bit, we haven't presented it yet, but it's about multi-use. Housing, and so making the minimum lot size smaller, that sort of thing, so we can. Encourage more housing, whatever, if it's affordable or not, we just need more. housing.
It's funny because Stanford is making a maximum size, there's no minimum maximum.
All right,
But there is a minimum building. Of room size this year.
All right, perfect.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
your
so
time.
much. I'm gonna hold off on tag sale because unless Joe is Joe online by any chance?
Joseph Giovanelli?
No, Joe Brown.
No.
Okay, he's probably gonna come at 7 then. So Flag Day, in your packet, there is an application that I have to fill out for us to become part of the Flag Day parade. We're hoping to do a float. right, Monica? So, Jim, you and Monica were talking about some of the banners that you took
Yeah.
down.
We took them all down here the last week,
Yeah,
and I went through them the other day, and picked out the most ones, still make out kind of what they were. The
yeah,
best ones, the best shape. And
great.
I put a pile of them for a month, and I'll go through it someday.
Okay, because that would be nice to have on the float, I think. Those would be really nice. They're well
We gotta
done.
figure out, we gotta get tape or something, they got them like leaf holes.
Okay.
Gotta get them taped off. You can do that in the backside. If you want to be, you know.
Right. And
Some thoughts we had were PVC piping with pool noodles from the dollar store and then paper macheing them and painting them to look like the Great Chain.
Yeah, I was gonna see if they had anything on Amazon.
yeah, something so to kind of bring in the mill's, contribution of iron to the,
We found you have to be careful in doing the parade of lights that they do in the wintertime. You have to be careful with whatever you make, because you gotta get it from here to Hudson
right.
and not get it ruined
Exactly.
before you get there.
Exactly.
So it's gotta travel 20 miles, 25.
15 miles.
You don't, it's gotta be something that could be put on a trailer and trailered there. And then by the time you go that speed, a lot of times with the guys that do things for the parade of lights, they get there and then they're fixing and working and,
Well,
life's difficult.
I,
Figure out a way to have it all ready so you can put it together in 10 minutes once you get it.
yeah, that was my thought, because when I was laying awake at night thinking about this, was having something that can be disassembled, put in the back of the pickup truck.
Yeah.
And then once we get there with the trailer, knowing where it goes and being able to pop it together on site.
We built wooden sections
Yeah.
and hung them on the wall of the firehouse. And then once you got where you were going, you mounted those on the truck and they were all in place. And
Jimmy
that,
Parker has that, float that was together with BMW parade. Trailer, not be by the one on the trailer. We'll leave that together, we can use that.
Yeah, I think that would be great because, the Memorial Day parade is just before it. And then, we could do that. And that's a decent, as I remember, isn't that a decent sized
Yeah.
trailer? So-
At least a 16-foot trailer.
So that's perfect. So I'll talk with him. Do we want to schedule a meeting?
you
Or
you
do it.
don't really have a lot of time. You'd be surprised to make something like this happen. So
We could meet on Saturday.
I'll be here Saturday.
Sit down and write some notes and thoughts.
The one thing to keep in mind, the bigger the trailer, the more things you're gonna wanna put on it, and it's gonna take more effort. So the size of the trailer might be a factor.
Well,
Yeah.
the nice thing is we do have the banners at our disposal. And so even if we had to do something like David said, where we make a frame,
Yeah,
put the banners back to back on a frame, that would take up a good section of it. And they all say Ankrum on them,
right.
which is good. And I was in,
I think the town highway could do that easy.
yeah, I was in Hobby Lobby yesterday, and they have a ton of stuff for the 250th, real cheap, that should be going on sale. So
Cool. Okay.
just
So
thoughts.
we'll sit down and we'll talk about it on Saturday, but those are really good ideas. So the only thing is, I don't think we're gonna have marchers, right? We're just gonna be riding. That is my assumption. I'm gonna be here in the morning till maybe like 10. Would 10 work when you get in?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we could just sit and just kind of think about it, draw it out.
And it probably should be something where at least some of you guys from the town board are on it.
Okay.
Because I kind of talked to some of the other town clerks while I was away.
I think all the town clerks are gonna be on that.
In costume.
I'm gonna drive the float.
Well, that's, if you're gonna have the trailer, what's gonna drive it? What's gonna transport it?
We're gonna have it up
The
behind
pickup
the highway truck.
Okay,
I could probably take it over here for you, direct.
Take what, the float or the truck?
Well,
Cool.
I thought you were gonna start. Figure it out.
Okay, awesome. Perfect.
What?
You guys are driving me nuts. No. Okay, so under new business, I have the town hall meadow. I was going to let you know that the Resilient Farms and Gardens group has decided that they're gonna shift and possibly do the same proposal on a private at a private location. I had sent Susan, who had kind of spearheaded this, some of your comments about parking and the helipad. And she thought, yeah, maybe this would not work for us trying to do this in the field. So she wanted to say thank you for looking at it and giving input. But it might be a better use of the time, money, and resources to do it at a private location where they don't have those types of constraints.
Would they be interested, you know, the Rojan Library does a lot of those programs. Like,
Yeah.
so maybe they would be interested in doing something like that and as an educational thing.
Definitely. I will bring that up to the library. I can ask them and ask Susan about it. They have a big field there at the library that they do mow, but they don't use like that. They don't
Yeah.
park it.
The only thing I was thinking is 900 square feet, if you get it out into a big area, is not
It's
that
not a
much.
lot. It's
So
not.
it gets lost in it. So that,
Yeah.
I mean, they gotta be careful with that, not spread it out too much.
Mhm.
Because if they're looking, and want to use it as an educational piece, they almost need to keep them closer together and keep them where they're easy to get to.
So it's walkable and
Yeah.
like you can do
So
things.
that's just it, 900 square feet is a lot.
Yeah. But she just said, please let the town board know. Thank you for looking at it and thank you for the input. So that's where that stands. Okay, building locks and phone system. So I gave you guys the copy of it's an old quote. I don't expect you to have any chance to look at this because I got it today. But this is something I know that we need to start working on. And this was something that Phil Hack had gotten a few years ago about the phone system that he was used to at his office that he really liked. Just to give us an idea of costs and what we would be looking at just for reference. We have the original phone system in here from 2003. So it's basically, 22, 23 years old this year. And we're having some issues with it, with voicemail. We're having issues with phantom calls. If the power goes out, Monica loses her message. It just reverts to an old
What is that, what's
message.
this per month?
Yeah, a lot per
It,
month.
around $900 a month for the phone system here. That includes basic internet, the fax lines. There's about 10 separate lines in the town hall.
Well, paying $1,000 for an antique system.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's
Exactly.
failing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
any technology that's 23 years old needs to be replaced.
Colleen
Let's be
can't
real.
get her messages, so if you've left a message and she hasn't got back to you, it's because we can't crack the code to get into it, and it's not a password thing.
It isn't anything.
On the other hand, I have a new phone and I haven't been able to get it to take messages for 2 years. So
So it may not just be our phone or.
it could
our
be,
line.
it could be operator failure, but I'm not gonna say anything.
But I just wanted to get this and start getting this in front of you guys so that we can work on this because it'll be important to put it into our budget for next year. And so we'll obviously get more quotes, see if we can look at some of the New York State bid quotes from vendors that are approved by New York State and start to really look at this. Because it has to be done. In addition to that, David, you had brought up about the lock system.
Well, we got.
We have a quote.
Yeah.
And-
Talked about, maybe the lot system is better. I don't know what the deputies cost, so that's.
Right,
I think
right.
those are all things, that's an everyday, every minute,
Yes,
all the time thing,
yes,
which I think, we found that with the firehouse, that's the reason we went to a keypad system.
Mhm.
If you've got keys out there, you never know who's got them and where they are.
Yes, I had a really good conversation with Brian, and I cannot remember his last name off the top of my head. He does facilities for the county. And they, as you know, they're doing a building down in Hudson, and they are switching everything over to the little fobs.
Yep.
And he said it's so much easier because you have no control with keys sometimes, you know, who has what. He said the easiest thing when someone leaves employment, you just deactivate the fob and they can't get in. So, you know, that's a thing to do. And of course, the vendor that they're working with, which they've been really happy with, is the state contracted vendor. So he was like, they're gonna be out here in like the next month. If we can coordinate, maybe I could send them down, let them look at what we have
Exactly.
and go from there. So.
Is this the same company that they already had at 401 with the key fobs? Because if it is, that guy's already been.
I don't know.
I forgot that company.
I gotta see let me look at what you have,
Yeah.
and then I'll send that to Brian and see what he
Because
has.
I do believe that one was on state bid too.
Yeah.
Good, perfect.
Well, we should definitely be working on state bid.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of companies that will do that, but, you know, but I think we need to, unfortunately, it's another thing that because of the current state of affairs in the world,
yeah,
we need to change how our facility operates.
I agree.
I mean, that's, you know, you don't go in many places that are as easy to get into as this building.
Yeah. So, we're gonna keep on going with that. So next month, I should have a bunch more information on that. Basically, the last thing is just the pavilion rules and regulations. Nothing has changed since October. This is what we had approved in October. And I just wanted to check in since we're starting a new season and to make sure that these still look appropriate to you.
One thing I think we should add, which I thought about the other day, is that the town board or that we have the right of refusal to refuse an event or to actually almost terminate an event if things are going, they're staying there too late, they're not abiding by the rules and regulations that we have. Music is playing or they're overrunning things. I think we need to put that in there so we have some type of something to go back on.
I think that's a good idea.
We haven't really gotten set who is organizing it and who's running it and how they check. Perfect example is I know that there's gonna, like, you know, different times when there's gonna be activities there per se by the camp or even like a fire company event where we use some of that for parking and different things. I mean, Memorial Day parade. Somebody says they, you know, how does the person know who to contact about things being going on?
Okay, so right now, I mean, Steve has
Okay.
has said that he would do that. I will make sure that it's very visible on the website where the forms are.
So now, he said he's got somebody for May, but what date is it?
I want to say
It was made of.
it's either the
Yes.
16th or the 24th. It's a Saturday, I believe. It's for a kid's birthday.
I think it's the 16th, if
Okay.
I'm not mistaken, so. But you're right, absolutely, that
And
has
it
to be
seems
very
fantastic
visible.
to wanna, you know, and quite honestly, you're gonna start to get days where people are working on the swimming pool.
Mhm.
You're gonna get days, that's, if it's the 23rd, that's Memorial Day weekend. And there's definitely gonna be activity in the town because we're hosting, you know, at the firehouse and around, because we're hosting the parade this year.
Right.
So there's gonna be things, and I don't think it, you know, that's not really gonna impact them, but you know, also we're gonna be setting up. I don't know where, gotta talk to Jim exactly how we're gonna do things and what's gonna go on.
Okay, so, all right, so we will make sure that
We used to end up at that money. Down there.
The one question I did have is, so is there any way that if somebody comes in with a group of 23, let's make it that way,
Mhm.
and you need a reservation or permit for 25, who's getting thrown out? They're both legit, but who's gonna throw the other person out? Like, is there a sign up? Is there gonna be like a calendar where they could look online and say, oh, it is booked for this day?
I think the, actually, the new website is gonna have the ability to do that, where you can,
be ready for this summer.
yeah.
You all had talked about.
Will or it won't be.
It won't be after the summer. You all had talked about if somebody had paid to use it, they were a paid user on a certain day. There will be a reserved sign and a time that could be hung up somewhere on the pavilion that said the pavilion is reserved for this time. To think that people would be aware and courteous of that. But once again, we're going back to the right to refuse or to.
Yes.
I just think we can put it so that it has to be out there a weekend, 2 weeks ahead.
Yep.
Right, so it should be reserved 2 weeks at a time. We can put something out there so that other people can start.
We got a building, we have where around that signs down there. Occupied, then we occupied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can do that, I mean, if it's open, I can see accommodating the people, but this gives us a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just, but that's kind of one thing we talked about. I mean, if you're not, perfect example. My daughter has a birthday, Wednesday night. Now, we're not gonna be using the pavilion. But if it were say July and we said, hey, we're gonna go down, we know we're only gonna have 10 or 12 people. But you get somebody else that's doing the same, there's gonna be issues that come up. We have to be,
Right.
we have to know that there's gonna be things that, and the other thing is, think about somebody who's basically, they're paying to rent it. Then you've got somebody else that's only got 15 people and they're getting it for nothing.
Right.
There's things like that. You're gonna hear those hassles. You have to know they're coming.
Yeah. I think that would be really good, because it'd be helpful for people to be able to plan. Let's say they have something that's like more flexible in time, then they could plan a little bit.
I'll look into that.
Thank you.
That was one of the biggest things that could come up on the website. When we were talking about the website, that was like at the top with the search bar was a calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for events too, not just reservations, yeah.
Do you guys like reserve, like, how do you know when the conference room, I was wondering where your calendar was.
Right here, the calendar is right here.
Does anyone know who's using, if anyone using the, because.
Or it was like this weekend, we had somebody using it. It was Colleen, remember
We
to
use
call.
Apple parking at times.
Right.
And quite honestly, you can park both sides of the roadway all the way down,
Yes.
so it's just gonna be not helpful to them. Because there's not much parking, that's all. It's just weird.
I mean, we do run into it here from time to time where I will have somebody ask to use the big room. And then we have a committee meeting in the small room, and then somebody else show up and say, oh, we thought the room would be available, so we were gonna have a committee meeting, so I stuck them down in the building department. It's like being an air traffic controller or something.
Yeah.
I was just wondering how you guys do it, because I know how we do it, but I didn't know.
No, there's no official.
Okay. But really, I'm sorry, Willie, you had a question, I believe? Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, so you're gonna do a reservation, kind of deal with this. What about like insurance? You guys gonna require them to carry a rider?
So we can do that. We contacted our insurance broker about that, and he said that there should be more than enough insurance on that because of the pool that you carry. We have to carry extra insurance for the pool. But we could be like an additional insured type of thing.
Certificate of insurance from their insurance company to prove that they have
We
insurance.
do the same thing.
Yeah.
In which we can do that too.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, thanks. Well. All right.
I don't have anybody else.
Have anything else?
So we're just going back to the pavilion, we're going to make the signs, are we okay, are we cleared to make
I
the?
think,
And then just to add five, the additional thing,
Yes.
and we'll
Yeah.
have the reserve in the 2 week that you mentioned, that should be.
But not on the sign now. That's on the website.
That'll be
Applications.
Right.
Site,
It wouldn't hurt to be on the sign down there, because if you want to know how to do it, you can find out.
Right, we should also add the website address, yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
so that they know how to, not to.
Good one.
Monica.
Yeah.
Things on, like, the one thing, you sent out the agendas on a regular email, not phone email.
did I?
I got mine on voice home care, which was, original.
I got mine, my.
Really? Do you have forwarding? If it might forward to you. That's weird.
One question I did have about the telephone is, this is not obviously for 10 lines, right? This is a telephone thing?
It was for 15 lines.
15, I think it's.
So my question to you is, now the equipment is all gonna be additional cost, correct? Because what I'm thinking is, why would we continue paying, like $900 a month? Why would we have to wait until next year? Because this will be under the cost that we're paying right now.
It should be, but I think our $900 is also just line fees too.
Oh.
And everything,
And
so,
taxes.
and taxes.
And do we have to pay those because we're a town? Because this has $131 is taxes and fees.
Whatever taxes that we don't have to pay, we don't.
Okay.
Whatever taxes
We do.
and fees. There's some stuff we can't get around.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I need to, so I just need to talk more about this.
Yeah, we definitely need to break it down, really look at it and see.
Let's try to get out of that.
Yeah. Okay, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Second,
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we got a 5-minute break here, so. And start with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
like to welcome everyone to the April Town Board meeting. Before we get started, I just want to double check recusal status. Is there anything on the agenda that any town board member feels the need to recuse themselves from discussing? Okay. Do you want to just tell me when it comes up?
Sure.
Okay,
You already know.
I do, but yeah, you can just let me know.
Okay.
Or us know. Before we get started, is there anyone that from the public that has any comments or questions before we get started with our agenda? Anybody on Zoom?
Nope.
Okay, cool. All right, so I guess I'll start with my report. Or no, sorry, minutes. Before my report, did everyone get a chance to look at the minutes?
I make a motion.
second,
All in favor? Aye. All right, now I will start with my report. Okay, so for the month of April, I have a few things to report on. At the Board of Supervisors, we approved a bunch of resolutions. One interesting thing that the county is working on with the Columbia Economic Development Corporation is a Columbia Forward Micro Enterprise Development Program. And it's tailored for businesses with 5 or less employees. And of the 5, they're usually like a principal owner or owners. And the plan is to create available to these smaller businesses for training and other, needs that they have, but they haven't quite finalized developing this, but they want to target those small businesses and help them develop their business in itself. According to our March financials for the county, the state sales tax revenues for Q1 were looking a little bit higher than last year, which is good. That will trickle down to us. In public safety, which I'm a committee member for that, we went over the emergency management's annual report. And just for anyone who doesn't know what they do, they coordinate emergency preparedness, disaster and hazard training for municipalities and individuals. They just finished last year the county hazard mitigation plan. So that was a pretty big thing that they worked on. And so because we're part of Columbia County and they just updated that plan and we have signed on to approve that plan, which we did last year, it would allow us to leverage any sort of FEMA disaster funds because we've approved the county plan. So if something, we would have the ability to actually take advantage. Works. Maybe. It says read, but here it's things. Okay. At Public Works, I learned that from the county engineer that the bridge that is on Route 3 that goes over the Punch Brook just south of the Pond Restaurant by the Drownlands is scheduled to be replaced at the earliest would be 2028. The latest and most likely will be 2029. So they just started sending out solicitations for bids for engineering on that. And I believe that they were able to leverage grant fundings, I'm assuming DOT funds to do this. So that will help with the costs of that. So I'm certain that the county will be coordinating with fire, EMS, highway to get that done. So that is what's happening there. And the highway department at the county is purchasing 2 new dump trucks with plow equipment, a tow behind broom and a brush chipper. So they're starting spring cleanup on the county roads and they're working on ditches and culverts as well. And the least favorite thing for me to report is that the Solid Waste Committee approved a recommendation for the indefinite closure of the Gallatin substation transfer station. I voted against this action in committee, and I'm prepared to vote against it in the full board if it comes up for resolution.
Colleen, what do they take into account when they make this decision?
So they have a couple of things. They say that the staffing is an issue. And I haven't been able to tease out if it's just that the staff that's there doesn't want to be there. I don't know that for sure. It is a low producing station. So we don't produce a lot of waste. That makes
Cycles.
we recycle too much. I was like, really? Is that a bad thing? Okay. So apparently last year there was some sort of, they refer to it as a public health issue with flies at the station. Again, I am not 100% certain how bad the issue was.
It was bad.
I didn't know. And I think it's because they're not filling the compactor enough.
Yeah.
So they removed the compactor from there because it was, and put 2 dumpsters there instead. And so it costs more to transfer out dumpsters and what have you. But I was not totally in favor of it. And I was not the only supervisor that wasn't in favor of it. There was another supervisor that voted no as well.
The thing is too, if you look at it, you look at what Ankram's population is, what Gallatin's population is, and what Tacona's population is. The 3 towns going there are probably 3 of the smaller towns in all of Columbia County.
Yep.
So like you said, it doesn't get enough traffic,
Right.
and
Right.
that's why it's a problem.
And it's not that I debate that. I just wish there was a way that they could do this more equitably so it doesn't just punish, like perpetually punish these 3 communities you know, so that they have nothing and they have to go to other places. I think we need to work a little bit more on that to see if there's another alternative we can do, so. In as far as the broader community, I'm still on the building utilization committee for Pine Plains Central Schools. And I have to say thank you to Joan Taylor, who is also serving with me. So we've been touring each individual school and trying to figure out different configurations of the student population in which we can consolidate into 2 buildings and potentially maybe work to doing a single building like Taconic Hills or, you know, something like that. Because the population of students has dramatically declined. So that's what we're working on. And the FAC met this month, and I'm just a fly on the wall in there, but we noted that our T-bill revenue is down, but we are holding back and not investing as much right now. What we're looking into other ways to kind of bring that number up so that we have a constant, you know, we don't hurt our revenue stream, but we're also using our money to make money. So because I don't know why we were being so conservative about it. Maybe because the T-bill rates weren't as good, but I think we can.
Not getting any rate.
Right, if we're not using it. So I think we've got some ideas on how we can bring that number up a little bit. And yeah, so I mean, that's really about it for me. Okay, Jim, you're up.
Been rather busy here. We had, still looking back at March, we had 7 days where we had snow operations, and I almost thought we were gonna have one last Sunday. I had to go look. But we were good. Got this residual sand all swept off the roads of the rental machine we had, and we were also utilizing that to clean off the road after we did a lot of ditch work on Over Mountain, East Ankrum, Fox Hill, and Pool Hill roads. So we did quite a bit there. I was hoping to get started grading the dirt roads today, but my grader man fell ill and didn't come in today, so. Hopefully we'll at that next week. I ordered and took delivery of 200 more tons of salt. So I was hoping to avoid any price increases, and I had the money in my budget, and so we've got it. Had to enlist the service of a wildlife trapper to remove some troublesome beavers from 2 locations. They were quite busy and they were causing flooding on a couple places on me, so. Had 5 of them taken out. And the state still has not passed their budget, so I don't know how much CHIPS money we're gonna get this year. And the way the prices are going, I'm probably gonna have to scale back from my original plans. I was gonna do a large portion of Pool Hill Road and Chase Road was on my to-do list.
Okay.
And we took down all the banners, as we talked about earlier. And we completed work around the pavilion today. We got dug out along the edges of it and put 8-10 inches of stone down in there and for the water so it doesn't make mud. And I got some grass planted on the end towards the ball field. So hopefully it'll get a little rain, get growing. That's all I got.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Monica.
So I don't have a written report in the packet because I have been out of town for the past 4 days at my town clerk convention that I attended at the Desmond. Some of the things that classes that I took or speakers that I heard, they had a gentleman from the New York State Office of Homeland Security, I believe it was, who gave a presentation on how to spot human trafficking, which was very interesting. I took classes on Clerks Essentials, some roundtables. I did a class called Ask the Assessor, a refresher on clerk minutes. And then the last day, I didn't get to it because I had to get home, but they did have something on navigating AI in local governments, but I believe they were going to record it so that we could watch it later on. But it was a very good few days. I think we had, it fluctuated between 16 and 18 clerks from Columbia and Greene County. So we had a good group of people there representing us. I accepted certificates for Columbia County and Greene County having 100% enrollment in NYSTICA, New York State Town Clerks Association. And as you all know, I'm now in charge of this group of people. So I learned how how hard it is to herd 18 people at one time, but we had a good time, and we are looking towards having, I don't know if I need to ask for special use, but I'd like to use the pavilion sometime in June. We're going to have a meeting, discuss what went on at conference, and think about some things that we'd like to see going forward. So if as a town board, there's something you think that we should be interested in going forward in my office, I'm willing. Some of the business cards that I picked up to bring to my ladies were companies that do bookbinding on archival books, companies that do digitizing records and digitizing the old archive books from the 1800s so that we don't have to constantly be opening them and exposing them. And to have the sheriff's department come down and do a safety procedure with us. So I have some ideas in mind to bring people in for us to have some meetings with them. But yeah, it's very interesting being the one that has to set this stuff up. We go forward. And the only other thing is Meerkat was here today. Now I know this is something that all of you are interested in. We had no mice. He took down 4 old wasp nests, and all total, he believes we caught 12 mice this winter. So I have 12 mice to your culvert problems with your critters.
Thanks, Monica. And before I move on, although Monica is not an administrative assistant or anything like that, she is her own office as right. This week, it was Administrative Assistant Professionals Week, and I really want to thank her for everything she does. People don't realize how much Monica does. She is an amazing asset to our community, and I really want to thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
She keeps me in check is really what she does when I go like that. So yes. So okay, so we'll move on to board member reports. Councilwoman Boyce.
Just a few things. Let's see. We were hoping to have a cleanup alongside the roads sometime in May. An email will be going out, and you'll get you can pick up bags either at, we're hoping, the little store, the Farmer's Wife, and the town hall here, and you can pick your road, go down, and they said to leave the bags. And right,
Okay.
so we're gonna organize that, so you should be seeing an email about that. The other thing I wanted to try to do is have a CPR class for residents. Love to get some more people out there that know CPR. I'm working on dates. The first date they gave me was June 13th, and it was Flag Day. So we'll work on another one. I was hoping for a Saturday. We can see if what I was gonna do at first is have everybody just pay their own way. But I might be able to get an organization or two to try to cut down the cost per person. And so therefore, maybe $10 or $20 off per person. Which it's like $85. We're gonna see if we can get it a little lower. But if I can get it down to 65, and it all depends on the class that they take. So it could even be less. So I am working on that, but I do think that would be something that we should try doing some more. The other thing is, this is all dependent on the pool, but we do, if I'm going to continue doing the pool, which we will discuss later, we have to advertise for lifeguards. I need older lifeguards now. I have a lot of younger lifeguards. In order for the pool to be open, I have to have a supervising lifeguard, so they have to be 18 or older. And so that makes it a little bit challenging, because right now, the people I had are actually doing their interns for college or for, their career. So I'm losing some of those. So, yeah, so I have to advertise for that as well. We will be doing a CPR class also for the highway guys, the firefighters, and the lifeguards. So we have a kind of a busy schedule coming up, but that's about it.
Thanks, Jen. Councilwoman Gold.
Yeah, I have a couple of updates this month. The first one is on the senior day that we talked about last month. Following last month's town board meeting, we held a meeting with Nina Benvenuto of Columbia County Office of the Aging. Colleen, Monica, and I attended. She's going to be helping us plan the event. We're looking at a July event date to hold this senior day, and it's going to be open to Ancram's senior community and caregivers. Invitations will also be extended to our neighboring towns. The event will be educational in nature. We're also going to have some activities planned for it as well, so it'll be a little bit entertaining. But some of the forums we plan to have will deal with financial planning, self-care, safety at home and away, legal planning, health options, including hospice and palliative care, and more. We'll have guest speakers and pertinent vendors, hopefully. This is all in the planning stage. We also will serve lunch to the attendees. And as I said, we'll have activities to engage the audience. The proposed time is 10 to 1, and it'll be held on a Saturday in July. Any questions on that? The other update I have is on the intersection, the Ancram intersection. I spoke with my contact at Central Hudson this week regarding the utility poles at the Route 82, Route 7 intersection. Central Hudson is the lead on the transference of the lines to the new poles. Other utilities, including cable and telephone, are due to complete their work now that Central Hudson has completed theirs. Once done, the old poles will be removed, and we can then again focus on having the New York State DOT work with us on sight lines to increase the safety at the intersection. Because once the poles are down, we'll have more access to the corner where we can hopefully shave it down so that we can improve that sight line up from 7 up 82.
Is the state gonna move the big steel pole that's there?
Central Hudson said that they will be removing, I don't know the state, not the state pole, the wooden pole. I don't know.
The steel pole that holds the traffic lights there.
I don't think the traffic light is being touched. It's just the,
Then that pole's not gonna get moved, so
Then
it's not gonna make much difference.
well,
I'm just saying, there's a big steel pole right on the corner. It's,
right.
what? It's the worst offender of the whole group.
Well, there's the straight one and then the one that's diagonal to it, that's pretty awful looking. Those two will come down.
Okay.
I understand that, but the steel one's the farthest one out and the most in your view. I don't know,
Well, I'll have DOT take another look at it,
I mean,
but that's not Central Hudson's work.
no. No, that's DOT, there.
Yeah, the fly in the ointment is that the telephone, all of the cable companies, are going to be doing their work and transferring their lines to the new poles. But the telephone company is refusing to do it at their own expense. So that's, right now, that's gonna be holding things up, but they're the last ones on the pole. So we'll see how that works out, but I have new contacts.
My claim has always requiring removal of pole. Otherwise, it's not fine.
Which poles?
The old
Yeah,
commission pole.
yeah, well, they will come down and Central Hudson will take them down, but they can't take them down until,
But the reason they put in that law was to make the telephone company move it over. I'm pretty
Yeah.
certain. I got talking to the supervisor from Pine Plains, that's what they did.
Mixed results from it, yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
There is some.
Yeah,
There.
yeah, our contact at Central Hudson is retiring next week, so I have all new people to work with. So that's the
That makes
update
things
on
look
that.
easy.
Everything is very slow.
All good, Amy?
That's all I had, yeah.
Hey, Councilman Boyce.
Okay,
Guys.
gonna talk about a couple things maybe that are not quite, per se town board, but town of Akron. The fire company is gonna have an open house May 2nd. For people to see the facility and the fire equipment, as well as, number one, we're gonna have Sauce Beers, fire extinguisher company in, they'll fill or test any fire extinguishers that anybody has at the fire company's expense. And also you can get new fire extinguishers while you're there if you need them. Also, there will be applications for membership available if anybody is so inclined. We're looking for new members. We had an extremely busy month this month. We had since our last board meeting, we had 17 calls, which is one just about every other day. And quite honestly, we had we had a bunch of serious calls. I mean, every call was serious, but we had three that were much more involved. We had several structure fires, fully involved structure fires that caused families in our community to lose their homes and lose everything in the structures. And I hope everybody is paying attention to that. We also had a serious accident out on Route 22 where two people were seriously injured, and we landed another helicopter for that. I will point out again, as I did at our last planning board meeting, we had real problems with communications out on Route 22. You could not communicate with the radio, cell phones, or any other way, because once you got around the corner, the landing zone for the helicopter was up at the rest area, and the accident location was down near White House Crossing Road, and we couldn't speak to each other no matter what we did. So with phones or with radio, so things were difficult there for a while. I just hope everybody, pays attention. There's a burn ban in effect right now. Things are really dry. It doesn't seem like it. I know we had a lot of rain last week, but quite honestly, if you get outside, I spent all day outside on a lawnmower today, and things are dry. Pay attention. It's something we need to be aware of. We got a bunch of good volunteers. They're working really hard and out there for you. So, we talked earlier in the workshop meeting. I've been looking into differences in population of all the towns around and the different zoning regulations in everywhere town around and how much how large their zoning regulations are. And it shocks me how much larger the Ankrum zoning regulations are than any other town around. I mean, 120 pages more than anyone else. I think that's a little bit much, personally. I think we need to find some way to remedy that, but that's just my thought. And in a couple of months, I'll have something more on that, but that's where we are now.
Thanks, David. Do you want me to send out anything on the Ankrum email about the open house
I was gonna get a note to either you
or Anne?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Big
great.
for that.
Okay, that would be awesome. Great. That would be good.
Yeah.
Thanks. Does anyone have any public comment that they'd like to make at this time? On anything that we've talked about?
I guess I'll.
Yeah, come on up, Ronan.
So basically, I was on the structure fires that had happened. We lost everything. But really, thanks to Dave Boyce and yourselves for the quick reactions was unbelievable. 6 minutes is what it took to get you to my house, which is really unheard of. You know, and if it wasn't for Dave and Danny that were there straight away, my 2 daughters would be gone. So it's a lot, you know. You're talking about doing a fire thing, maybe there's more that could be done, you know. Maybe do a test structure fire for people to learn on a ball field or somewhere. So to see the difference of what to do, because my daughter she was trapped. You know, she didn't know how to get out, but her older sister was there to help her get out as I opened up another door to get them in a different way. So really to you guys, Devin, you guys, Willie, you know, there were 60 people there, you know, thankfully was not enough. You know, they were there for over 4.5 hours fighting a fire that literally started because of a laptop that was just plugged in. So like this community has done a lot for us. Again, thank you is not enough, but we don't know where to go from there. And like some of you guys have personal problems, health issues and stuff, but you still fought it really hard, you know. So we really want to say it. Thank you. So really 6 minutes is really, really good to have someone come out and get started. So to Dave and his team, we appreciate you. So
Thanks, Ronan.
Along the lines of one thing that Ronan talked about, we have a drill in the fall, which is basically a smoke rating and fire progression drill we did last year, where quite honestly, we have a member of our fire company who builds a small house, and it's set up through not FASNY, but the NFPA. It shows exactly how to build it and what to do to make it work, to show how fire progresses in the structure. And it's really quite exceptional. And maybe we could open it up to more of the public this year and let everybody see. Because I know for a lot of people, and especially with Mr. Maloney, it is exceptional how fast it traveled and what went on with that house. I can show some people where we're not publishing the pictures because I personally don't think that's fair to the family. But I have some pictures that I can show you on my phone of what it started and in 6 minutes what it did. And it's just mind-boggling that a house does that. And the biggest thing that I had one person ask me just recently, actually after that fire, so well, how would I get my fish out? Listen, you don't get out. You have to get out. You don't, you know, you got to get out of the house. You people need to do that. And everybody needs to realize it. There's only one thing you need to worry about: yourself and your family. Get out, and then we'll do whatever we can to help you. But that's the important thing. It's amazing. Our structures are built. We've talked about it before, how they have to have the right placards for engineered lumber in them. everything in-house now is some type of accelerant and they go fast. And it's pretty amazing. So,
Other thing, we had solar on the roof that we didn't even know about. And I actually pointed out to Devin where in one of the rooms in the solar, to be careful because the solar with the fire started to back in. They're used for that person to do that room. It's kind of scary to realize the way that solar was done. And then it was Willie, a few other guys down on the side. If that solar had to slide or go, you got fire back. So I think we really should think about solar going on the roof and actually start doing it. Because
well, it holds,
your guys are at risk.
Yeah. it holds the fire in. And it creates a collapse risk because there's more weight on the roof. And it also, one of the fires that we went to, structure fire in Hillsdale several years ago, when the supports in the roof finally loosened up on that thing, the solar panels swung down and fell off. And as you said, if anybody's out at the bottom of the structure, they're gonna be severely injured by it. So it is something that we need to think about, in our zoning regulations.
My youngest daughter said that fire around in my room, the roof fell in. What happened to the key cover? What happened to the key died? So for a 14-year-old girl to notice this was a lot, you know. And then actually you probably were on one side where there was solar and you know there.
I did only because you said something.
Well,
Yeah.
there's solar over there and that roof is falling too, so.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of people actually at risk where you never thought of it.
Yeah.
So I think you gotta think about that.
Yep.
So.
Does anyone else have any comments?
Just gonna make one comment. I'm working a little bit with the Maloney family. You know that, emails went out and different, or people asked us how we could help. And I gotta tell you, once again, you have a great community. You really do. People offered places to stay. 3 different people offered, room and board. And, well, I guess boarding.
You don't know if they were free, Lady. You just know they said they had a place.
No, they did. Oh, sorry. They did say, but, it's very impressive. We do have an incredible community and, I hope everybody realizes it.
Thanks, Jen. Okay, I have on here the 250th year celebration. Is Libby online at all, Michael?
No.
Okay. Joe, do you want to do it or do you?
I can picture it.
Okay, come on up. You can go off the cuff. Why not? The next thing is the tag sale and you're speaking about that. So you can do both.
All right. There was a meeting with myself, Libby, and Robin Massa and Dean, last name guy. And we were talking about ways to how Ankrum can show up in the America 250 initiative. Obviously, Ankrum is less than 250 years old, but had a real role in the Revolutionary War through the iron, the lead mines and the lead smelting that we did to create the first chain across the Hudson from Anthony's Nose. There's an article coming out. It's basically, we want to do a multi-pronged attack where the first aspect of it will be an article in the town news about Ankrum's role in the Revolutionary War. There's also talk of an article about Ankrum's historic quilt, which has some names from the first families of the town there. So you can see who was around during the Revolutionary War and contributed. And we also I'm supposed to email you about pitching a townwide party in the fall after things kind of calm down a little bit from the summer season, where we just commemorate Ankrum's role in the Revolutionary War. Nothing really too fancy, just an opportunity for the community to come together and realize that we had a good time, that we had a part to play, and we're still here and we're still important. So I will get you more details on that, but Robin, Libby, Dean, and I are all working on it and can give you more details at your request.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's good.
Are you thinking like a potluck type of thing or?
I mean, we want to use the pavilion, right? Because the pavilion's great. And it's a great place to come together. We were gonna ask David if the firehouse wanted to do something also. I mean, the firehouse is just center of the sort of community that if you wanted to have another chicken barbecue and time it with this, it could be fun. We could have any number of ideas, but mostly just come together and celebrate.
Sounds like a good idea.
We just need to work on scheduling.
Great. We're looking for the fall.
Got a lot of your chicken cookers back there. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, there they are. So. Perfect. You want to stand up there? Because you got to get your notes. Okay. So the next thing is a townwide tag sale. And for the board, I put in your workshop packet kind of the notes and thoughts that we had. We had a meeting this past weekend of the Climate Smart Committee. This is actually just our notes from that meeting. And so and ideas and everything. But Joe's going to give you a much better presentation than what I typed up.
Yeah, you don't have to. I got you. So with full understanding that June 13th is a Flag Day parade, we would like to do it on June 13th. And we think there's actually a pretty good argument for that, which is people are going to be coming up. It's in Hudson. We're going to be on the earlier side. The parade starts at noon, and there will be more people in the area, which means we'll have more traffic. This is sort of not committee, but I know we'll find people if folks who are going to be at the parade need somebody to watch their booths or their blankets or tables, we'll help out. It's a community thing. We'd like to do it here at the town hall because parking is better. Yeah, there's that. There's also the playground, which is gonna be nice for the kids. And we wanted to do it from 9 to 3 p.m. with a rain date of August 8th. August 8th is actually National Garage Sale Day. National Day for everything, but we wanted to do it in the spring for spring cleaning. Participation model. If you live in town, it's free. Come, bring a blanket, bring a table, set up. If you are one of our neighbors from the towns around us, we would ask you for a $20 donation. All proceeds for anything that I'm going to mention of these add-on fees will be split between fire company, Ankrum Neighbors, Helping Neighbors, and the camp. And we plan to have donation opportunities on site as well as information. The Climate Smart Task Force has a couple of tents that we're going to set up, both for registration and also to have information about our various town features and organizations. We want to also open it up to local merchants, but like craftspeople, maybe, woodworkers and the like, who might want to sell. We would also charge them $20. And again, proceeds go to the organizations that I listed before. Your idea, Jen, of a map that people could pay to be on is something that the committee has really embraced. I think it's a great idea. Some people may not want to bring their stuff. They don't want to leave their home. Maybe the garage is just too much of a disaster and you just got to have the sale at home. So we would publish a map and we would charge people, again, the $20 fee to be on the map. Pre-event setup would be via a form that we would send out. Colleen is master of online forms. And so we would send out a form also with a call to action. If anybody wanted to volunteer to help staff it, Climate Smart Task Force will take lead on staffing it though. We would build and publish a map. There's an opportunity for a printable map or a QR code so people can have it on their phones. We'd promote it via the Ankrum email, flyers in our local businesses in the post office. And then we would ask folks who are members of local Facebook groups to promote it as well, because that's a great way to get people to attend. And there's a lot of communication that has to happen in terms of, you can't leave anything on site. There are prohibited items. Like propane tanks and firearms and stuff like that. And we have already written up a draft email for the Ankrum email that we'd love to distribute. And with y'all's blessing, we'd love to move forward with this. So folks who are already in the process of spring cleaning can know to not just put stuff on Marketplace. They can come sell it right here at a community event.
Yeah, the main thought of it is to keep stuff out of the landfill and recycle and reduce and reuse. So, one person's trash is another person's treasure. So So that was kind of what we were going with for that, so. Perfect.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
so does anyone have any, what is the overall thoughts of the board? I know Amy was at the meeting too.
I kind of thought we already agreed, like this, like the last month, right?
Yeah,
Didn't we say-
so-
We did,
I
but we
kinda
just
think-
wanted to make sure you knew we had a plan.
I'm good.
I've had it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I
All
will,
right.
send the email to you and Ann
Okay,
and send it out.
yeah, I think it looks great. Yep. Thank you so much, Joe.
I'll stay here with the tag sale rather than go with the front.
Right, options, yes, exactly. So, at our work, next thing is just going over the pavilion rules and procedures. At our workshop, we did that. I will say that I'll read them back to you to make sure I'm saying these correctly. We're going to keep everything as written. We are going to add the language that the town board has the right to refuse or refuse an application and or remove someone if they are violating the rules that we have. Well, or the town. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'll take out board there. Yeah, we're not all gonna come down there and do that, but the towns. On the website, Michael is gonna work on making sure that the calendar is visible, the existing calendar, so that if someone reserves it, that the calendar, or he's going to try to make sure, I should say, that little inset calendar can say pavilion reserved, so people in the community would know that that was that way. I'm going to create a reserved sign, so if someone does reserve it, it can be labeled so that people would know that it is reserved, and the date would probably be good to have on that. And also making sure that the contact, which Steve had agreed to do for us, that contact information is clearly on the website, so people have someone that they know that they can actually contact with any questions or issues. The last one I have on here was about the 2-week period. That doesn't necessarily need to be on the rules list that's down there, but it should be on the website. I think we're all okay with that. As a preference, as a preference, if you're reserving for that, you give 2 weeks notice.
They can include insurance.
Oh, insurance, I did write that here. So we are
Right.
also, just to make sure, we are gonna have it so that if you are renting the pavilion, that you do an insurance rider, like an additional insured of the town, to make sure that we have coverage. Even though according to our insurance agents, we do, but this would be an extra layer of security on that someone's using the town property. And it's usually your homeowners, I think, that you do it off, or renters. It's a certificate. Yeah, it's just a certificate, and you just contact your agent. And I don't know about renters, like if a renter does it. Monica says no, because, yeah.
I mean, you can get rental insurance, but I believe rental insurance only covers your belongings. I don't think
Okay.
it would be like a insurance rider, so we'd have to keep in, we don't want to exclude people, because a lot of
Right.
time the renters are the people with the small children that want to have a party.
So maybe I should look into exactly how we can do that. Maybe I'll
Maybe talk
contact
to Kurt.
Kurt. I'll contact Kurt tomorrow, and see what we can
That's
do.
something he can offer us.
Right. Okay, so we will put insurance there. I will need a motion to make these changes. All in favor?
Mm.
Aye. And now that we have more definitive rules that we are set on, I will print a larger version of the rules down at the pavilion, one that you can see a little better. So that it's more visible for people. So that is that. And that's done. Amy went over the senior care event, so just putting it out there. There will be more information coming out on the Ankrum email about that. So just keep an eye out. And if you know a senior, reach out to them and let them know it's coming. Town hall updates, the building updates. We are going to be in the process of updating the locking system and the phone system. So over the next few months, we will be getting quotes and look at options to improve both, because both are the age of the town hall. And we found that it's very difficult to monitor key usage, physical key usage, as opposed to having either a keypad with a code that you can deactivate or a key fob that you can deactivate if someone is no longer employed or using that building. So just for safety reasons, that's why we are going ahead and doing this. And our phones are somewhat acting bizarrely at many times. So that is something that we are gonna start to work on because they're 23 years old. Okay, so the next item is the town pool. Okay, so Jen just indicated that she is recusing herself from this discussion. And I want to open it up. I have a statement to make about the pool, just to put it on the record for everyone. I just want to note that for the past 20 plus years, David and Jennifer Boyce have taken care of the veterans pool at Blastfield in Ankrum. Most of that time, correct me if I'm wrong, they did so on a volunteer basis. A few years ago, which is probably more than 3 years ago, the town asked for bids for the care of the pool. And as a result, no bids were received except from Boyce Home Care, and they became the contractor to the town for the pool. This was years before they became elected officials in the town. They've consistently provided services which include not only the physical care of the pool, including pre-season and post-season cleaning and repairs and filling of the pool. Thank you also to some of the other firemen that also help with that. They hire and schedule lifeguards for the season and organize all of the lifeguard training. Due to the age of the pool and their institutional knowledge about the pool and staffing it, I believe it would be in the best interest of the town to continue contracting with Jennifer Boyce to manage the facility. Do any other town board members have a comment?
I'm definitely in favor.
No,
Well,
but
quite honestly, I don't even want to get into it, but to clarify a few things. We started taking care of the pool before our daughter was born. The daughter's gonna be 33 on Wednesday, so it's a lot more than 20 years.
yeah,
And quite honestly, they bid it. They decided to bid it when Art Basson, or actually when I got elected to the town board. And there are things with the pool that other pool companies can't provide. If some kid gets a nosebleed, they're not coming out to put chlorine in the pool to super chlorinate the pool. They're not close enough. You're not calling the company from Hudson. We go down and do that. There's a lot of things that are just intrinsic to a community pool that somebody close by is taking care of it for one reason or another. Also, one of the things is Jennifer also does payroll for all of the lifeguards, which is a huge issue that a lot of other companies do. And I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I gotta tell you, and you hear me say it every year. I make a point at some point to go to the pool and sit there and close my eyes and listen to the kids. I would recommend that for any town board member or anybody. Listen to the laughter and the squeals and the enjoyment, and you'll know why we have a town pool. There's nothing better than that. So that's my thoughts.
Technically, no,
Oh,
because you're recused if you,
okay.
I know I'm being harsh,
No,
but,
I'm fine with it.
but I'm trying to run it by the book. I know technically, but you're not getting, if she leaves the room, she's out probably, so there's no way. Okay, so I am going to make a motion to continue to retain Jennifer Boyce as the pool director for, we'll say 2026 into 2027. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and just me. I know that Jen recused. Thank you. All right, we're getting to the bottom. So we have a couple of changes in our planning and zoning board operations. So we have a new deputy planning zoning clerk. She started 2 weeks ago, and she actually is the court clerk over in the court office and was looking for some additional hours. And so she started to work with Sarah, and she has worked out phenomenally. So she is going to be covering that office during the day when Sarah can't be there and helping with you know, some of the meetings and things to make it a little bit better for her.
Yes,
Yeah, her name is Jessica. And so if you're around, stop in, say hi to her. And we always, when possible, try to hire within our, you know, within ourselves. And so, yeah.
You're poaching a life.
I know, no, I know. But she has a good track record with the town and has been employed by the town for a little while, so.
And I think what people don't realize, it's very hard to find people to fill these positions. That's 4 hours twice a week.
Right.
You know, so if we could take somebody who's here in one of the other offices, maybe doing 12 or 15 hours a week and give them another 8 or 12 hours, it makes it more in their favor to stay with us and to be a productive individual.
Yeah, I did that for how many years? 10 years or so.
I don't want no more
Poor
jobs.
Monica gets put everywhere, but
I'm good.
yeah, so that is one thing. And so I would like to make a resolution to formally appoint Jessica as the deputy planning and zoning clerk.
And this is on a temporary, but this is a 6 month.
We generally do 6 months with I think that's in our town or our employee handbook. So we do a 6-month probationary period with that.
I make the motion.
All in favor? Aye, okay, great. And the other thing, is the Climate Smart Task Force, has been kind of quietly looking for a new member. What actually happened for us is someone reached out to me and asked how they could become more active in the town. And they have this interest in agriculture, farming, and it's her name is Finnegan Faribault, and she is running Steel Bow Farm. So that's Don and Marnie's farm. And so she had reached out, and believe it or not, I didn't have to solicit any. She came to me, and so she was able to attend our meeting this Saturday and met with all the members, and we would like to make a recommendation that she be appointed to the Climate Smart Task Force. Unfortunately, Jeff Massot ended up he is no longer doing it. I think the Opera House really has been super busy and doing so many programs that he's not able to do that anymore. So yeah, I mean, it's good that they're busy. Sad for us, but good that they're busy. So
Good for him.
yeah. Faribault, yes. Okay, so if you are at all in favor of that, I would ask for a motion. Second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. And I will say that Amy was there too, so there were two town board members there to meet her. And yes. Okay, so I am gonna make a motion to go into executive session. No, I pulled it. Thank gosh, Dave had his manual. To discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation or relating to appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or removal of a person associated with the town.
We want to do the resolutions first, so
Um,
everybody here knows before they go.
yeah, because everyone's gonna go. Well, let's, all right, yeah, good idea. Good
I mean,
idea.
I second the motion to do that, but I think we should do the resolutions first.
Okay. So we did oh, you grabbed it. Okay, so the resolution is just to appoint Finnegan Faribault to the Climate Smart Task Force. Yeah, and we also did
Jessica,
planning and Jessica, so we're fine.
so we're fine.
Yep.
So they're done, okay.
So we got
David seconded the
the
motion.
David seconded it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All in favor? Okay, we'll be back. You have your manual back. Thank you for that.
Do you know?
I know. I will make a motion to open back up into regular session. That's fine.
Second,
All in favor? Okay, I will also entertain a motion to approve the warrants and pay the bills.
make the motion.
All in favor? And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? Yay! Okay.
Amy, Holly.
We're done.